Cheers, that do buckaroos, and how the heck are ya? I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. I have the Martin City Belgian Blonde. If you'll notice, Blonde does not have an E. That typically signifies that it's a Belgian blonde. As satisfying and crisp as the crack of a bat on a home run, the flowery aroma, I usually say floral, but flowery, what the hell, of the blonde ale leads to a spicy, sweet taste with a medium finish that is sure to satisfy. So anyway, that's what they got here. 5.927, a Belgian blonde. Cheers. Has a bit of a floral aroma. No, it's what you expect. Notes of clove. Oh, not bad. If you like a Belgian style, this is a fine beer. If you don't like those flowery aromas and flavors, if you don't like that clove spice, this isn't going to be the beer for you. But it is a nice, crisp, clean, I'm going to say spring, summer kind of beer. I mean, it could be a year-rounder for some folks, but for me, it's a spring, summer flavor. Because it's bright, crisp, it's floral, it's aromatic, it's slightly spicy. Well, slight spice, not spicy, but slight spice, let's say, because there was a bit of a difference there. I did have a good time at Martin City. I only had 2 beers there, but yeah, but it was a pleasant experience. Excuse me. The bartender that I had was perfect. I had a coupon, which a lot of places give you those coupons, but they don't want you to use them. I signed up for the email club, so you buy one, you get a beer free. So the first one I paid for was $6. The second one was $5. I got the $5 beer free. They also had a coupon for buy 24 beers, which is basically, 4 6-packs for $28. 24 for 28, which makes it $7 a 6-pack, which is rather good. In the craft beer world these days, $7 a 6-pack is brilliant, cheaper than many macros. And they had no problem honoring those coupons. In fact, they seemed to be glad about it. So it was a very pleasant experience in Martin City. I had 2 great beers while I was there. I had their Abbey Ale, which they're double. This is a Belgian blonde, but they have a double that's crazy good. Oh my, it is tasty, Martha. And I also had their Martin City IPA. Now I ordered the IPA. I have a 6-pack of the IPA. Oh, excuse me. I bought a 6-pack previous to visiting the brewery. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And I had one the night before, but I wanted to have one on tap to see if I could spot some differences, and I did spot a few, but I haven't had it back on cans again to really go over that again. But it seemed to have more citrus notes on tap, and which is not necessarily unusual. I mentioned while I had the first can that it was very malty, and I got some slight caramel notes. I mentioned some citrus, but it seemed secondary to the malt. But it wasn't an old 6-pack. They weren't near out of date. Now, having it on tap, I did feel those caramel notes, but the caramel notes were secondary to the citrus. So, but that's not necessarily unusual from tap to can. It really isn't. This is good. Martin City's doing some great stuff. Maybe not necessarily out of the box, but they're doing quality beer, man, and that's important. That and the service, I mean, for me, a lot of my experience is based on the service I get, right? I mean, your beer could be impeccable, but if you're assholes, I ain't going back. I don't care how good the beer is. So my service so far in about every place I've been to has been spot on. First brewer, I went to Beer Lab. It was. I'm gonna say the service was good. The beer was adequate. The service was good. It is what service typically is today. You have millennial servers that have They don't have a customer service oriented attitude. They have a, hey, I'm here, you're in my place, so what can I get you kind of attitude, but they're not smiling, they're not friendly, they don't seem happy about serving you. It wasn't necessarily unfriendly service at Brew Lab, but it was typical millennial service, I'm going to say that. But KC Beer Co. was almost the opposite. Even though the bartenders were of millennial age, the service was more of what I expect from my age group. I mean, they were very efficient, yet friendly, knowledgeable, and seemed more than happy to tell you about their product. So, although my service at Beer Lab and the beer at Beer Lab wasn't unsatisfactory, I would never say I'd never go back there, but it's not going to be on my must go back to list because of the service I've got from some of the other places. Casey Beer Co. was incredible. Martin City was great. Where else did I go? Oh, Casual Animal was good too. And the cocktail I had at Tomstown was, whoo, baby. Yeah, I hate to lump people in groups, right? But sometimes you can't help it. Millennials tend to act a certain way. So do the boomers. So do X generation. We all have certain characteristics of our generation. Now, myself, being born in 1965, depending on what chart you believe, I'm either the last year of the millennial or the first year of the Gen X. So what that says to me is I exhibit qualities or whatever the word you want to use of both. I do a lot of things that are that you expect from Gen X. I also have some boomer sensibilities, but I'm not full on boomer, nor am I full on Gen X. But one thing that does frustrate me about a lot of places these days is that they almost. It used to be you walk into a place and they were happy that you're there. Now you walk into a place and it feels like you're a burden to be there. and some of the places are like that these days. Is that what do you want now mentality, rather than, hey, what can I do for you? Hey, can I answer any questions for you? And it used to be like that, but it's not like that anymore, and that frustrates me to no end. Especially from the customer service background that I was brought up in. Everything should be about maximum customer service from my point of view. And I'm not talking about a generational standpoint, boomer, Gen X, or whatever. I'm just talking about, well, maybe I am, because it was how I was brought up to be. I mean, I grew up in customer service. I made my living, most of my work life is customer service, so I understand how it's done. So when it's not done right, I tend to get very irritated. But Martin City was brilliant. They made no mistakes, in my opinion. They made no mistakes. The customer service was great. The beer was everything I had was as I expected it to be. Again, I ordered their regular IPA and I ordered their Abbey Ale. I didn't expect either of those to be out of the box. What I expected from both beers was to be per style, and both beers were. That Abbey Double was perfect. It was perfect. It was a great American version of, or American craft interpretation of a Belgian Abbey Ale. There was nothing wrong with it. Again, their IPA was the same way. It depends on what you're looking for in an IPA, but it wasn't flawed. It may not have the flavor profile that you personally are looking for, but there was nothing wrong with it. This Belgian Blonde is the same way. It is an American craft interpretation of a Belgian Blonde. There is nothing wrong with it. It has that floral aroma. It has the floral flavors in the back. It has that clove spice that you expect from a beer like this. It is clean. It is crisp. It does what it's expected to do. So there you go. There it is. There it was. Anyway, I am Don the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, beer wisdom, and all around good guy. Cheers, y'all. Biscuits and gravy. That was good, actually. I'm not always a fan of a Belgian blonde, to be honest with you. I do like this one more than most because there was those floral characteristics. There's also those fruity characteristics, but it wasn't overly floral nor overly fruity. It had a nice balance of everything with that hint of spice that ran all the way through it. One more time with feeling, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, pervert whistle, all around good guy. Cheers.